Hello, and welcome to our tutorial series for working with components in Finesse Gadget Designer. In this tutorial, we're going to demonstrate how to align all the components properly in a frame. After completing this tutorial, you'll be able to design a user interface in which all the components are properly aligned. To begin, let's drag some components onto our frame that we've already added to our canvas. I'll add a button and text inputs to my frame. As you can see, these components aren't properly aligned. There are two ways to properly align components here in our project. You can either use keyboard shortcuts, or we can use the Align button in the top bar. In order to use the keyboard keys to align all of your components, we need to select all of the components together, and we do this by holding the Shift key and clicking each component that needs to be aligned. Once all the components are selected, we can press Shift L for left alignment, and you'll see all the components are now left aligned. Similarly, in order to align all the components towards the right, we can select all the components again and press Shift R. We can also press Shift C for center alignments. In order to align our components to the top and the bottom, we need to again select any components we want to align. Then, we press Shift T to align to the top. If we again select components and press Shift B, they both get aligned to the bottom. If we want to use the top bar instead, we can do that as well. So let's mess the components up a little bit so we can demonstrate the alignment again using the top bar. Select any components you want to align, again by holding Shift and selecting each component. And from the drop-down at the top, we can select any of the options that we want to use. Suppose we want to align to the center, so all the components would be centered, we can do that. As we can see, the vertical gaps between all of our components are not the same. So, in order to make the vertical gaps equal between all the components, we again need to select all the components and press Shift V. Now, the vertical gap between all the components are equal. If all the components are in the same row, we can also make the horizontal gaps equal by selecting all of our components and clicking Shift H. Then, all the gaps horizontally are equalized. Now suppose that I've put all my components on my canvas, and I press Shift L to make all of my components left aligned. But now, I want all of my left aligned components to be centered within the frame. To do this, with all of the components still selected, we press Shift B. And with that, all of our components are now centered in the frame. If we wanted to do the same thing vertically, with everything still selected, we just press Shift M. Now, the distance of the top and the bottom, as well as the distance from the right to the left of all of the components, is the same. Now suppose we have a text input that's a little bit bigger in size than the rest of the text inputs, and you want all of the components to be of the bigger size. Well, we can select all of the components and press Shift G. Now, all of the component sizes are similar to the size of the largest component. Now, I'll just press Shift B and Shift M so that the components are again centered. And that's how we can change the alignments of all the components in your project to make your user interface design more presentable. Thank you for watching.